Fear, Bruce Wayne says in a dark voiceover at the beginning of The Batman, is a tool. He's speaking about how the image of Batman can be employed to intimidate villains. However, it's also possible director and writer Matt Reeves took this to heart when he came up with his idea for reinventing the iconic superhero. This is the most terrifying Batman ever. From the first harrowing scene, it is evident that this isn't the caped crusader of your grandmother. This is a creeping, angry, white-knuckle-inducing psychological thriller with a heavy dose of crime noir, and believe it or not, Reeves absolutely pulls it off, achieving a grimly beautiful masterpiece. The Batman can stand on its own, however, it's also dripping of cinematic references. Some of the films I was thinking about during watching the film: Zodiac, Say 7N, Chinatown, and Saw. Did I think about the majority of previous live-action Batman films? The gritty realism of this film is like Christopher Nolan's trilogy. But this is a fresh and bold modern cinematic version of The Dark Knight. In fact, its grounded character is similar to the 2019's Joker. The difference lies in the fact that this Joaquin Phoenix thriller didn't really require to have the world-class DC Joker villain's title to convey the story of a poor man who is ostracized by society. The Batman film, however, is an Batman story in a surprising faithful manner. It draws from and reinterprets diverse stories from the comics in a daring but respectable manner, yet being quite different from the films we've seen on television at this point. First of all, it's not the typical Batman source story. Reeves is aware that Thomas as well as Martha Wayne are dead, and he's rightly assuming we don't have to watch their bodies being shot again. Instead, we're thrown in Batman along with Jim Gordon's partnership as a vigilante and detective. The story is set late enough in Bruce Wayne's tale to not repeat scenes we've seen many times, yet it's also early enough to show that he has lots of growing to go through before he's an almost flawless superhero. We don't get to see the beginning, however we do witness many developments along with several clever call-outs and additions to the stories of various Gotham families. In that regard, Robert Pattinson is playing an even more vulnerable and human-like version of the billionaire orphan than we've ever seen. With a character that is so famous, it's easy to draw a parallel, perhaps in a way, from the numerous actors who have played before his. However, Pattinson is making Bruce himself. There's no convincing impression of a charismatic, likable playboy that as we've seen in the past. We're presented with a sad, twisted character bound and motivated by the unresolved trauma he's suffered in a manner that is enthralling to see. The Bruce is broken and not able to conceal his feelings even when he's wearing a cowl. The performance of Pattinson, on the other hand, is extremely painful regardless of whether he's wearing or not of his batsuit. If you think that's an enormous amount of material to squeeze into one movie, The Batman does clock at 3 hours, so it certainly has plenty of time. The majority of the time, it is able to earn the bladder testing time, but there were times during the middle of the film when I wasn't completely enthralled to the political mystery that is at its heart. But once the story and the action increased in intensity, it was as if one of the Bat's grappling hooks struck me and pulled me back with such force that I had no the time to complain. The final hour makes all the building worth it by showing a few large, stunning, beautifully choreographed action scenes. This film's grounded approach raises the stakes of fight scenes. And when Batman throws or is hit and takes a hit, it can be painful. Additionally, the cityscape, the backdrop of the film, is gorgeous and dark. If you've seen all of the Batman's advertisements, you're aware of the style that you're looking at and that is constantly bathing Gotham in a color palette of red and black. Cinematographer Greg Fraser's clever contrast of dark and saturation prevents it from becoming monotonous and keeps us captivated within the unique Gotham, which is similar to other important US city in a variety of ways, yet remains completely its unique. Michael Giacchino's epic, dramatic score brings everything together, providing a handful of breathtaking moments that rival the best of comics' popular characters. The Batman is, as always, an individual story and performs very well as such. However, don't be fooled, it's a story that opens the door to the possibility of a sequel. It's possible that's understating it. There's a huge hole for the possibility of a sequel. It's not a bad, dark, grim, and politically dirty world that I would love to be swept in again. Verdict. The Batman is an enthralling, beautiful, stunning, and sometimes, truly terrifying psychological thriller that gives Bruce Wayne the grounded detective story the character deserves. Robert Pattinson is great as an extremely broken Batman. However, it's Zoe Kravitz and Paul Dano who are the stars of the show, with their movingly layered Selina Kyle/Catwoman as well as a frighteningly reckless Riddler. Director/writer Matt Reeves managed to make an Batman film that is completely distinct from other Batman films within the world of the live-action comic, and yet, it's remarkably faithful to Gotham, the lore of the entire city. It's a film that is a true testament to the legacy of this iconic character. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and visit our website clonotech.com to read more.